It's time to get your fix with Awkward Arsic and Mr. Fifth. Coast to coast coverage of Universal's Halloween Horror Nights begins now. HHN Addict, embrace the scenes.
Hi, Mr. Fifth.
Awkward Arsic, what's up, guys?
Today we are talking about our top 5 favorite mazes of all time.
I was just making faces, I'm sorry.
Now, we haven't seen each other's lists, so we're just kind of learning where the other person's mind is with this. So you can do number 1.
Alright, so my number 5 is The Thing Assimilation. Came out in 2010, based off of the prequel to the 1981 version of The Thing. Had a lot of cool callbacks to the original. Had a great facade. You had the outpost with the smoke coming out of it. You had great puppets.
Before you get too far into this, I will let you know that was my number 4.
Okay, cool. So what did you like about it?
I like that it was something different. Murdy is very stick with the safe.
Hater!
But I think it was nice because it was something that was completely different. When we did the HHN Central interview with Murdy, he was saying that he would never attempt to do The Thing because he could never give it justice. And it was nice to see him knock it out of the park. I mean, it was an awesome maze from beginning to end. You didn't know what to expect.
Agreed.
I can say that the scare actors were spot on. We actually have a good friend, Jimmy Talarico.
Hey, he was in the, one of the puppets at the end, right?
At the very, very end. It kind of set the groundwork for some of the mazes that we see now. Like, there's a lot of things that have been repeated over and over and over again over the years, but that kind of was the year that we saw things pop in. My number 5 was El Cucuy.
Oh, shit.
Now, the reason I went with El Cucuy was because of the fact that I felt like it was something different than what John typically would go for.
Yeah.
It was more of an original. I love that it had a little bit of classic Halloween with a spin of something new in it.
That pumpkin smell in it?
It smells
the best.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's nice when he does the mazes that don't smell like vomit or throw up.
You don't like that?
Yeah.
I just love it.
Nothing like shit smell.
It just reminds me of Carrie's poops.
Oof.
Shout out.
I smelled those. I loved when you entered his lair and you had all the dolls and everything from all the kids that you were taking. I thought that was very well done.
Yeah, the other scene where you walk into the kid's bedroom and you see this giant claws pop out from underneath the bed. Really cool. Did you feel like it was a little Freddy Krueger-ish when he would be in different outfits?
It was totally Freddy.
It was like the Mexican Freddy Krueger.
It was like, what does this boogeyman look like?
Yeah. Oh man.
Freddy.
So my number 4 is Halloween Hell Comes to Haddonfield, which was the Halloween maze last year. Michael Myers is one of the creepiest slasher icons in my opinion. The scare actors were what made that maze, I would say. They were just
the one thing, my only criticism on that, because I agree 1000%
What do you mean?
in terms of him being one of the craziest slashers, and one of them that I fear.
He has no reason to be evil. Like, you know how Jason, he's a sympathetic character, or Freddy Krueger, not sympathetic very much, but they all have backstories. And Michael Myers,
he's just Melissa in the head.
Yeah. Shout out to my crazy ex.
What I'm looking for is you have a character who's obviously massive and big. And now they had a couple that were great, and then you had some that were like bean poles.
So you would see Michael Myers go from skinny, he gained weight, he lost weight, and it's just that inconsistency. So I understand.
I mean,
that.
maybe all the killing he lost it in between scenes.
That's actually a valid complaint, especially if they want to immerse you in that maze, and then you just kind of see this.
But I mean, the sets were awesome.
Yeah, the sets, that creative. What did you think of that ending with the pumpkin facade?
Amazing.
Yeah.
I thought it was a cool way to go.
Yeah, especially.
I mean, it jumped out of the movie per se, but it was fun. I liked it.
What's your number 3? We're gonna skip number 4, of course.
Mine would be Friday the 13th, Kill Jason Kill.
That's my number 1.
Okay.
So I guess we can both talk about it.
I like that it had some of the most famous kills. I liked the fact that it had new things that were created. I liked the sets.
Original kills that they had in it, like the grindstone kill, and you just saw the girl's face getting pushed into it, which was really cool. The entrance into the forest itself in Camp Crystal Lake, that was the facade this year, which was kind of cool because we've normally seen the entrance to 2007 was a cabin, right?
Yes.
And then 2008 was the barn. So they tried to change it up. The scare actors in this maze actually were really consistent. They were all really large, pretty much the same weight. So like, unlike Michael Myers last year, which was a little weird, I thought all the scare actors were high energy.
Their victims rocked as well.
Yeah.
'Cause you had victims who were actually playing the role. It wasn't just like, oh, help, oh,
Because
help.
yeah, some could just be like a sack of potato. They'll just be like laying there, not doing anything, and then others can actually scare you while also being a victim.
So what was your number 3?
Krampus. It was our first real horror comedy maze because we did get This Is the End before that, and it was funny. But
But it could have been the end of Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah, we got to see the gingerbread men. We got to see the little angel and the giant Jack-in-the-Box that's eating the person. It had impressive sets. It had good scares. It kind of had just everything you wanted. But it was one of those mazes that I could go through multiple times and probably like live in that maze just because it was so fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was fun. It was
Yeah.
it was different from everything else that we've seen.
And the facade, one of the best facades I would say we've probably ever seen. Giant house, Christmas lights, Krampus at the very top. So what's your number 2?
Welcome to my nightmare.
Yeah.
That was good. Got a lot of great memories in that maze.
That was a scary ass maze.
It was horrifying. Like, I remember going through it the very first time, and it was like we were all wasted. And the amazing thing is after going through it twice, we were all sober. I think it's fair to say if Murdy's passionate about it, it rocks. I mean, it was his icon. It was his first maze that he got to do for him, and it screamed it. Everywhere you looked, that was a solid maze. You didn't have black walls everywhere. You didn't have anything that was half-assed. You could tell that the budget probably was spent heavily on that maze. But that would definitely be my number 2, and it was a close swap for my number 1.
My number 2 is American Werewolf in London, which... Yeah, thank you for that. American Werewolf in London, one of my favorite movies of all time. Not just favorite horror movies. I think it's one of the best movies ever made because it has, once again, the blend of comedy and horror. It's well written, and the puppet work in the movie and the maze I thought was awesome. I thought it translated perfectly in a maze. The scare actors were on point since day one, and I mentioned that in the HHN tag video, but me and Carrie were the first ones to ever go through that maze. No one in front of us.
It changes it.
Nobody behind us. Literally nobody there.
I think Universal should honestly offer like a special package where you can pay like $800
Dude.
and it's like 500 people.
I would drop.
Or you know what I mean? Like to where there's nobody in the maze. It's
Yeah.
just you and the scare act that I would pay.
So once the first puppet popped out, me and Carrie literally ran through the whole thing. So a maze that would be like, what, 4.5 minutes maybe? We got out of there in like 2 minutes. One of the scariest and one of the most fun experiences I've had at HHN, so that's why it's my number 2.
I'm just gonna say, I remember when we went through in Orlando. Thought it was awesome. The puppets
yeah.
were amazing. But I feel like Hollywood has this obsession with having poles coming out of the ass of their creatures. You saw the pole coming out, it's like, "Arr!" I'm like, I'd be making that noise too if I had a metal pole up my ass.
No, I agree though. There was some room for improvement, especially on Hollywood side with the puppets. And I think what really made that maze better than Orlando's version, even though their sets and their puppets were better, were the scare actors, which made it even better for me. So I thought their energy was a lot more intense than Orlando's side, and that kind of balanced out for me. So.
Okay, now I'm gonna say this. I almost want to say let's hold hands for our number 1. Come on, ready?
That's right, you're at the
No
bottom.
homo.
Bro,
No
you're at
homo
the
here.
bottom.
I think we're gonna say the same one.
No, you stole mine.
Oh, never mind.
Piece of shit.
My number 1 is Texas Chainsaw Massacre Back in Business.
Yes.
The most horrifying maze I've ever been through in my entire life. Much like when you and Carrie went through American Werewolf, I got split up from my group, and I had a massive Leatherface with the real chainsaw without the blade, obviously.
Well, you don't know that. You never know.
Yeah, then, well, I got hit by them numerous times
Okay.
that year, so I
Never
could
mind.
say, yeah, it wasn't real. I had
Yeah.
arms. But they used the real chainsaws back then, so you had the real smoke, and it felt a lot more threatening because you could feel the vibration when they were coming towards you.
Yeah.
But there was that scene in particular when you were outdoors and it was all the hanging sheets, and that maze just fucked me up.
I had the same thing happen to me. I got my 2 friends ran away. They went through the whole maze, and I was too scared because it was my first year, so I started walking really slowly. And then the same thing happened where in the clotheslines you could see the shadow of Texas Chainsaw on the right-hand side, yeah. And then he popped out on the left-hand side, and back then we didn't really, or I wasn't very familiar with the distraction scare, so I thought he was there, and he was not there. Okay.
You know, there's that maze in particular, like when you were going through the sheets, like it reminded me of, like it almost had a chaos feel to it because there was no defined path as to where you go. So that wraps up our top 5 favorite mazes. We've got lots of lists coming up.
So let us know in the comment section down below, what is your top 5 favorite mazes? And like the video if you enjoyed this, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys.
Wait. If you have questions that you'd like us to answer, if you have any topics that you'd like to hear discussed, down below, let us know.
And we'll see you guys in just a few days. Have a good one.
Bye.